Hey, Dentist Advisors and all of our viewers. We are so excited to be welcoming one of Dentist Advisors' new partners to our group. Today, we have Chip Fitchner with us. He is a co-founder and principal at LPS, or Large Practice Sales. Chip, welcome, and excited to have you guys on board.
Thank you. We're excited to work with you. Our focus is younger dentists, and I think it may be appropriate to understand what we do for a lot of your clients.
Yeah, indeed. So LPS, we're interested in LPS based on today's industry inside of dentistry. We're seeing a lot of different opportunities with DSOs, with corporate dentistry, roll-ups, valuations on practices, buying and selling. LPS comes into our group with a lot of experience in this regard. Chip, give us the once-over on where LPS fits inside that ecosystem.
Sure, absolutely. Well, we are advisors exclusively to doctors, and our goal is to help doctors understand what we call the partnership opportunities with invisible DSOs. Invisible DSOs, of which there are hundreds across the country, specialize in partnering with doctors by buying anywhere from 51 to 90% of a practice for cash up front. The doctors retain ownership in the balance and continue to lead the practice with the doctor's brand, team, strategy, and full autonomy for years or decades. The invisible DSO functionally becomes a silent partner because their goal is not to rebrand the practice or micromanage it or attempt to homogenize their partner practices to some corporate standard. Instead, what they want to do is invest in great doctors that have a growth plan where their resources can help that doctor grow bigger, better, faster, more profitably, and with a better work-life balance. The invisible DSOs are going to take over certain administrative functions, and they're all different. But in general, they're going to take over banking, accounting, payroll, benefits administration, compliance, credentialing, tax, legal, IT support, and vendor and payer negotiations. Again, their goal is not to tell you what to do because they're only going to invest in you because whatever you're doing is successful right now. But in many cases, these larger groups have access to resources that independent dentists do not have. So for instance, one of the things that often surprises doctors is that these groups are getting reimbursed at higher rates, both from federal and state payers, but also from insurance companies. And that can move the needle on the margins. In addition, as you can imagine, when you have hundreds or thousands of employees in your group across the country, they're buying products, technology, services, supplies at significantly lower cost than the independent dentist. And they're also able to get lower benefits costs, as you can imagine. And they're, in most cases, providing better benefits at lower costs than any independent dentist can do. And that's important in today's recruiting environment. So after you get past the baseline of the administrative support function, their goal is what other resources do we have that can help a doctor grow bigger, better, faster. And in today's world, recruiting is very important. There are some groups out there that have over 30 full-time people in their headquarters helping their partner practices to recruit everything from front desk to associates. And they're specifically, obviously, focusing on hygiene a lot because hygiene's tough right now. There are other groups that are exceptionally good at new patient development, meaning they're very good at marketing, driving new patients to their partner practices. And keep in mind, these groups, the invisible DSOs, are not new. This is not a new concept. They've been around for over 35 years, and some of these groups have 600 partner practices, and some of the new ones may only have a dozen or more. And so our function as a doctor's advisor is to show our clients, the doctors, to all of the available options that they have so that the doctor can make an educated choice as to who they would like to have as a future partner. Because this is not selling your practice. This is bringing in a silent partner to help you. Many of our clients, last year we did 612 million of these transactions for doctors in 20 some odd states. And it's interesting that out of that 612 million, 102 million were for doctors in their 30s. Younger doctors are grasping that not only can they reduce administrative burdens and get cash up front at today's long-term capital gains tax rates, but they can also benefit from the growth in the value of the retained portion of ownership that they keep. And that ownership can be retained either at the practice level, the parent level, or a combination of both. And we had over 100 of our client doctors just in the fourth quarter of 22 experience what's called a recapitalization. A recapitalization is where the funder, or the sponsor, as they call it, of the invisible DSO, meaning the money behind it, monetizes their investment, and doctors get to monetize along with them, meaning they get to sell all or part of their equity, again, depending on the structure and the partner you choose. And we saw some doctors in the fourth quarter, our clients, that made 3, 4, and 5 times their investment of that retained equity in less than 3 years. So the good news is it's a rapidly growing category. There are a number of groups eager to become your partner. Some of them are better than others. And that's our job as advisors, to make sure we introduce our clients to all of the qualified opportunities and none of the unqualified groups. And there are a number of them out there. Some of these groups will fail. It's all about understanding the money, the strategy, and what their upside is. So a lot of opportunities in this business right now. And what we urge every doctor to do is to at least understand it. Because the invisible DSOs are far bigger and growing far faster than the branded DSOs. We'll call them the Aspens or the Pacific Dentals of the world. You know, the invisible DSOs are partnering with doctors in all 50 states. And today, we're getting record values for clients. There is some perception out there that because of higher interest rates and inflation and bank crashes, that values have plateaued or gone down, and that is not true. In the month of May, we set new record values for orthos, pedos, oral surgeons, GP, and perio. The myth that values are down or that the market is softer is not true. And part of that is because of the amount of new capital that has been pouring into invisible DSOs. In the fourth quarter of last year, over $5 billion was invested in invisible DSOs, not the branded guys, just the invisible DSOs alone. And what's interesting about that is, yes, $5 billion is a big number, but what's more significant about that is where the money came from. So in the fourth quarter of last year, you saw the first sovereign wealth fund invest in dental consolidation. The country of Abu Dhabi's sovereign wealth fund, which is the third largest sovereign wealth fund in the world after China and Norway, invested $1 billion in U.S. dental consolidation. We also saw BlackRock. BlackRock is the world's largest asset manager with almost $10 trillion under management globally, invest $2 billion in an invisible DSO. So a lot is changing right now, and there's a lot of eager capital looking for great doctors. Younger doctors today have more value than older doctors, and part of that is because younger doctors are more attractive to the invisible DSOs than an older doctor is. And I'm 63, so I can pick on old doctors. Doesn't mean you can't do a deal for old doctors, but it does mean that the values are different. Younger doctors are more valuable to them. So it's an exciting time, and doctors should understand what invisible DSOs are and what happens when they come to your community, because they can be a great friend or they can be quite a foe. Just a quick story on that. We had an ortho practice in a Midwestern town of 100,000 people. This was an amazing practice doing $6 million in collections with one doctor, no associate. And he came to us, became our client, and we partnered him with the group in town that owned the 5 largest pediatric practices. But what happened there was my client now picked up 1,500 new ortho case start referrals from his new partner. And the other 4 orthodontists in town saw their production drop by 25 to 30% because they were no longer getting those referrals. So an invisible DSO can be a friend, and it can also be a foe, and it's important that doctors understand it.
That's right. Chip, thanks for the breakdown there. Thank you for the introduction. Thanks for bringing the value and the insight to what we're seeing inside of the industry. And for those purposes, we have you as a partner of Dentist Advisors. So for everyone listening, check out the website that we have here for Chip and LPS. Look forward to hearing more from Chip and his team on our upcoming webinars, Facebook Lives, and you can always learn more about them and reach out to them here via our site. Chip, we're looking forward to having you as a partner, and thanks so much for joining me today. Thanks for the introduction.
No, thank you. Very excited to work with y'all.